We have maybe 550-ish subscriber. Our revenue is just north of 200 grand. I kind of got pulled into it more than like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to become a course creator. I was actually trying to become a rock star. I got lucky. Oh, no, nobody saw that coming. This whole business in general just sort of fell into. All of a sudden, I'm like, I can do anything. I've had this idea for like 10 years. Maybe even more, and I would like talk to different developers, and they're all kind of flaky about it. And then I made it with Claude Code in about an hour. If you have ideas, it's a great time to be alive.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Selling Online Courses. We're here to share winning strategies and secret hacks from top performers in the online course industry. My name's John Ainsworth and today's guest is Jason Kleinberg. Now Jason played in bands, recorded music and toured around the world, which sounds terribly glamorous, but he tells me that really it means he slept on floors covered in dog hair. Eventually he started teaching fiddle and violin through a YouTube channel and a course called Fiddlehead. And his goal was to help people learn in a fun and productive way, and it seems to be working. He's got tons of loyal fans. He's got over 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. He gets over 100,000 views a month, and he's working full-time on his course business. Jason, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks, John.
So who do you help with your courses? Who's your target audience?
People, learners who want to learn the fiddle and basically just learn how to play. As simple as that. Tends to be older people, but not exclusively. Like there's probably a fair distribution of people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, but then it's kind of thicker in the like, as it gets older, and it's pretty cool because I never planned any of this. I never decided, well, I'm going to create a course for people who are retired or whatever. It just sort of happened that way. And so that's the main thing I do. Teach those people, and at least right now. And I mean, at different times I've tried to do something that reaches out more to young people, like try to put more on TikTok and Instagram, which I'm not really doing as much now. I'm trying to really focus on YouTube right now. But yeah, those are the folks I teach. People who just want to play, people who are playing for fun. I kind of position it that way too. Like if you are somebody who wants to start earning money right away playing music, then this is probably not the course for you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. Yeah, it's just people who really love music and want to play.
I really noticed there's a lot of the music course creators, that's their target. That's the audience that responds the most, is people who are kind of 50s, 60s, like retirement age, maybe. I was interviewing someone the other day who teaches classical piano, and he taught kids from the beginning. And most of his audience, like 80%, is kids. But he was totally the rarity. It's like a vast majority is people in their kind of 50s and 60s is like the most common learners. And you were saying about YouTube versus Instagram and TikTok. That's what we've kind of seen generally as well, is nearly all, and I mentioned this too, I think, before we started recording, nearly all course creators, YouTube is their main traffic source. There's something about it, the fact, I guess, that particularly long form on YouTube is a really good fit with the kind of people who watch that, with the kind of people who would want to take an online course as well.
That guy, the piano player, he's still reaching kids on YouTube, right? How does he doing that? Is he kind of teaching in a certain way, or does he have like cartoon characters popping up, or what is he doing to reach kids?
No, I don't know. I watched a bunch of his videos and it didn't seem to be terribly different to the kind of, like, you know, in terms of the style of it or anything like that, to the style of people who are teaching to adults. Like, he's wearing a suit and tie because he used to be like a competition level pianist. He would compete in international competitions, and he's decided to keep up the whole classical pianist looking fancy kind of thing. He started off teaching kids when he was doing it in person. He used to run an in-person school, and then it still appeals to kids now. I'll send you the link afterwards. You can check him out and see if there's anything interesting on there. What was his name's Josh Wright. Interviewed him like a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, couldn't say, but mostly it seems to be that people are attracting older crowd. What's kind of the size of your business now? Like how many students you got, or if you're happy sharing revenue, then that, whatever's kind of you're happy with sharing.
Yeah, we have maybe 550-ish subscribers, and it fluctuates around there. And some are monthly, some, and our revenue is just north of 200 grand a year. And so it's been pretty steady. It's just slightly climbed recently. We had a big like jump up in 2020 just after COVID, and 2020 and
Mm-hmm.
2021 was a good jump up. And I think that's when a lot of people realized that, oh, I can, because they had to learn online and it had to do something. And then a lot of people realized, oh, you can learn stuff online through courses. So I think that was
Yeah.
like a kind of a golden era of courses. Like, just to stay on that a minute, I got lucky. No, nobody saw that coming. I didn't. Oh, this whole business in general just sort of fell into it. I kind of got pulled into it more than like I'm going to do this. I'm going to become a course creator. I was actually trying to
Hmm.
become a rock star or a musician, recording musician or whatever. And I got pulled into this more. And so yeah,
How did you start then? Why did you start putting videos on YouTube?
I started because I had this student and he had a late night lesson, like, on a Monday night. He would start at, like, 8, then it's always at, like, the 9 o'clock rolls around, it's time to say goodbye, I'm, like, really, like, hungry. He'd be like, "Oh, one more thing, can you video everything we did today?" And so then he'd pull out his camera, and he'd wanna video every single thing we did, and then it would be, like, getting later and later. I'd be like, "Okay, well, I'll see you next week." And then eventually I'm like, "Oh god, he's gonna come and he's gonna f," and so I filmed the video for him in advance and put it on YouTube, and I'm like, "Here you go, it's all ready for you." And then I just kept doing that. I'm like, "Well, I might as well do it for everybody." And these are, like, just they're unedited videos filmed with, like, the FaceTime side of an iPhone camera, and then eventually people started to watch them, and that's what kind of like, "Oh, other people are watching it," and then people started asking for stuff, and it just sort of grew from there. Like,
Hmm.
I started getting like requests not just for videos, but for like sheet music and
Mm-hmm.
other content related to it. And I had a personal site, so I started posting it there, and then people were going to that. And then I put a PayPal button there, like donate, and started to watch the donations climb up. And then it became like an elephant in the room, like, wow, there's something here. And
Hmm.
this is the way I could actually earn some money would be through this extra stuff, not YouTube itself, because I've never gotten enough from YouTube ads because it's a very niche, small channel. And so eventually I just realized that, oh, I could do a course, and I started looking at other courses, and I saw a bit of a gap that there are all these like I think in a lot of music courses there's like a hot shot player who, is super good, but they don't quite have the understanding of where a beginner's coming from. They don't quite see the need for like really
Yeah.
incremental learning. And I started to see a gap there, and how what I was doing could have fill that, and they would attract people who maybe were kind of frustrated or not able to get going with some other courses. And so, yeah, I just started creating it. I got another fortunate thing. I was living in San Francisco at the time, which had a fair amount of like tech culture and still does. And I had a friend who was like an unemployed developer. He's like actually a manager of developers. And we just would go on walks and kind of talk about how to set this up, and how to set up like a boutique little fiddle lesson site. And he actually helped set up the coding and the architecture. And so I was just lucky to have him on board. I mean, I think it could have maybe done it on my own, but having him, and then the other thing I did in the beginning was like I didn't know how to do a business, and I realized I needed to learn that. So I just went on Google and just typed in, how do I start a business? And one thing led to another, and there's a thing here called the Small Business Administration, and they have like you can take classes locally. And so I took a marketing class and had a free marketing consultant, and that helped a lot. She helped me set up an email funnel, and that those two people were very key in getting the whole thing off the ground, having the site, like a WordPress site, and then having somebody help with like like email marketing funnel, that basic idea, which I'm still using now. Yeah,
Nice.
and then the
When
rest has
was
just
that?
been when that was in we launched in 2017.
Okay. So a fair
Yeah.
while back. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
What point did you start doing it like full time?
Pretty much I I actually think I was able to do it full time maybe by 2019. I had enough revenue coming in, but I still did in-person lessons. I was still earning a little bit from touring and a little bit from, like, publishing. And then I think once COVID hit, there was just no other. I had moved and I didn't have any in-person students, and then it was fully full-time. So maybe like 3 years total. Could have probably, within like a year and a half, done it full-time.
One of the things that I know that you do is you use chunking, and you said you take the principle of learning through chunking to an extreme. Can you talk me through how that works?
Yeah, for sure. So when you learn a piece of music, and probably when you learn any skill, you don't learn the entire skill all at once. You
Hmm.
learn one little particular thing and you get good at that, and you do it slowly so that you can feel it in your body and feel like a sense of mastery with one thing. And so then you just build on it from there. So, like an easy example of the principle, say you're learning a song, instead of trying to play the whole thing all at once. Let's say you're playing guitar, more common instrument, and there's 3 chords, and you know the 3 chords, and you kinda like, "G, okay, what's next? C, okay," and you keep looking, you're like, "Wait, no, wait, okay, got it." What you do is you play 1 chord really well. You just play
Hmm.
that, and you separate out everything else. You don't sing, you just play that chord, maybe you practice finding it, and so that's 1 little chunk, and then eventually you play the first line of the song, and you play it once, you take a break, you assess, you play it again, and you just keep doing it slowly till you get it, and then there's this kind of an integration step called looping, in which you kind of continuously play that little chunk so that it starts to
Hmm.
feel natural, and there's a sense of mastery that happens. And that's the basic principle. There's always like, if you're really struggling, then you're just doing too much, and you just break it
Yeah.
down further into something simpler. So, like, most of the teaching principles, like, revolve around slowing it down, chunking it down, and then once you get to a certain level, looping it, and then moving on to the next chunk, and then integrating. And a lot of times there's, like, going a little bit of back and forth between bigger picture and chunking again. And then throughout time, as you travel, like, the path of playing an instrument, you often have to go back and re-chunk things. You put
Mm.
certain skills back on the workbench and you work on them, even if you think you have them, kind of return to that.
Why was that such a breakthrough moment for you for teaching the course? Like, because you said that was the truly unique breakthrough that allowed you to do it full time. Was it that like people started to learn better from you, or like what happened?
I think so. It was something that I was already doing. Like, I had been teaching for a long time in person, and
Mm.
I just translated what I was doing to a course. And in particular, the thing I did that I think was different than what a lot of other courses were doing was that a lot of courses give you like sheet music or tabs, lyrics, and some notes and a video and a piece of audio that's the whole song, maybe slow and fast. And very unique thing I did was, with the audio, I took little tiny chunks, let's say the first quarter of a verse from a song, and slowly looped that and then sped it up. And
Mhm.
so that little thing, I think, really helped. I got a lot of feedback on that was what helped people learn. And what it did too is it helped you learn that song better. But then if you do that process on enough songs, you start to realize that's how you learn a song.
Mm.
You don't, oh yeah, so here's a song that's not on Fiddlehead, but what I'll do is learn it like as if it was a Fiddlehead song. I'll listen to the whole thing a few times, then I'll listen to the first 2 bars, and then I'll play those very slowly until I get it. And then so just the training helps you learn the particular song, but also the whole process.
Mm. What's your thoughts about AI and what that means for course businesses? What have you seen so far?
Well, ultimately, I don't know. Ultimately, it's changing so fast,
Mm.
and I think it's hard for anyone to predict exactly what will happen, other than it's gonna radically change the economy and our society and everything else. But maybe in the short run, I think that courses that have more modes of learning, like that, like my course, different modes of learning, and like there's audio, there's sheet music, there's tabs, there's videos, there's all kinds of stuff there, and it's something that's highly structured. It's not going to be easily replicated by or replaced by like a chat bot or something. It's a systematic thing. It's a whole organized system, at least for the short run. Maybe eventually an AI will be able to spin all that up. But the other big things I think that are important for course creators and just kind of keeping them going through this time is just your personality. I think like a
Mm,
lot of people will want a human in the loop. They'll want to they'll feel a connection with the person that will help, feel inspired or encouraged by a person. And then also community factor. So like with Fiddlehead, we started leaning into more of a community, and we have a paid community, like extra add-on that there's people who really want to practice together. They have student groups, and then I do workshops and just have a lot of events and a lot of very like robust community experience that I think will help a lot of like courses. And that I think with some courses, like if you're, I don't know, something that's a little bit faster moving, the community may even be the center, and the courses are will be a little bit more transitory
mm,
added on. And again, I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's all changing so quick, but I could see that happening, like a shift from like a course where you just kind of pay for it and you run through it and you're done in 3 months or whatever, to more something where you have a sustained learning. You kind of have like people you talk to, or maybe even a cohort. I think that'll become more important.
mm. I think there's a few different things. I think there's ways that you can use AI to your advantage right now. And I think there's some things that course creators probably need to do to like protect themselves long term. I think the community one, you're totally right. Like my suspicion is that that is a thing that people want to be around people. The fact there's so much more stuff out there from AI will mean that people want to have that like individual connection. So the personality of the course creator, the community that they've created, I think those are like things that will be like super helpful for protecting that, kind of creating a moat, protecting the space, making sure that people aren't just like, oh, I'm just going to use ChatGPT for this. I think some things that people can do in the meantime is start to use AI more to either speed up the processes they're currently running so they can run the business leaner, with less team members, or they can just get more done on their own. Um, but also like making games, it's fantastically good for that. Like I play bass and I built myself a little game for um, learning all the notes on every where all the notes are on every string, and it was just like, oh, this is much more fun than just going through and doing it as a rote thing, like having a little game that kind of ran it for me. But it's just like I could just build that. Like I didn't know anything about coding. I just said to ChatGPT, build this thing for me, and it built it. I was like, I think that there might be space. I was chatting with someone the other day. I don't think it's an episode that's out yet, but I think it might have been with Hemanand Vadivel, who was saying that he was building a lot of games for students to help them learn through that, and that people were really loving that, and that he'd done that for a long time and had 4 team members who were like developers who were just building games for people. But like now with AI, anybody could do it. Anybody can kind of build those kind of things out. um, One of the things I've seen that's been really interesting is we had someone on episode 215, Lydia, came on and talked about how she's taken all of her course and replaced it with an AI chatbot that's basically, instead of the course, people talk to the chatbot now instead, and launched that. I don't know that that's where most people will go, but I was like, oh, that's interesting as an experiment to kind of see, like, well, maybe we should all be adding chatbots into our courses as well as the course so people can chat to that. Um, Instead of them kind of taking our stuff and going and making their own chatbot about it. I'm not quite sure yet, but I think that one's worth exploring. What do you think?
I
How
am
does that
working on
sound?
that. I'm working on that, and I've made 2 apps. One which is really working out well, and one is called Metrodrone, and it's basically it's super simple. It's a metronome that's more musical, so it's a bass drum, and
Yeah.
then it's a drone tone, a really nice sounding string drone tone that you can switch to any key. And that's another aspect of the
I
Fiddlehead
heard that on one of your
course.
videos. That was interesting. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so John, I've had this idea for like 10 years, maybe even more, and I was like talk to different developers and they're all kind of flaky about it. And then made it with Claude Code in about an hour. And
Yeah.
I was so happy. I was like, I can't wait to do more apps. It was so fun. I mean, that's like the really exciting part of all this stuff is that if you're a creator, all of a sudden I'm like, I can do anything,
Yeah.
like I've had this idea forever and to be fair, like it took another 4 hours to get it perfect, but it was still like great. Like I'm just I need more time in the day to just kind of create now and do stuff. Like the idea of the games is like, oh yeah, that would be great to create a game. Like, I could definitely see getting into that. Did
It's
you
so
did you
freeing, isn't it?
did you have parameters for your game? Did you just say like, well, I want to get better at bass, make me a game?
Oh, I said I wanted to learn. So when you're playing, I don't know if it's the same on Fiddle or not, but you're playing bass. Most music is laid out as tabs rather than sheet music. And I was like, but I want to be able to go, oh, this is in G. I'm going to start from G. I'm going to like change up a key and know where everything is. So I need to know where all the notes are on rather than just playing from tabs. And so I said to it, I want you to make me a game that's going to help me figure out, help me learn where all the notes are. It's going to just test me on different notes on different strings. And that was it to start with. And then it made something, and I was stunned by what it made just based on that loose description. And then I iterated a lot. It made suggestions. I had ideas of how to improve it. Sometimes it wouldn't work, and I'd just give it back its own error message, and it would go away and fix it. And it probably took, I don't know, an hour or two to build that. And then like stuff's moved on. So that was like, I don't know, last summer or something. Stuff's moved on so far. I was using Claude Code the other day. There was something I wanted to build. And I was like, oh, this is like a 3-month project. And I'd built version 1 in like 2 hours. It's just version 1. I spent another 3 weeks since then iterating on it. But it's like, it was a lot smaller project than I had anticipated. I think anyone who's not using Claude Code or ChatGPT for coding stuff yet, it's like, give it a go, man. It's gotten so good so fast.
If you have ideas, it's a great time to be alive. If you have
Someone said
something
to
you
me
want to
earlier,
create.
sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Someone said to me earlier, we were talking about Claude Code, and he was like, I love 2026. And I like that way of phrasing it. It's like, I don't know what 2027 is going to be like, but right now, this is fun. And I am enjoying this stuff,
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm also very anxious. I feel things are moving so fast, and not just for me, but I just feel like there's without dipping into more things I don't know about, but just all the alignment issues with AI and all that is not going to be aided by super fast progress and just breakneck speed. But then again, I don't know. Who knows? But
Yeah.
I like that thought. It's somewhat optimistic. Well, yeah, it's great. This is great right now. There's a musician, actually a British musician named Imogen Heap. Have you ever heard of her?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just heard a podcast with her, and she's a very unique creator because she's super talented and beautiful voice, great songwriter, but she's also very into tech and always has been. She's created like an AI version of her voice, but she's just super optimistic about it, about what can be created, and like all the kind of like stuff that's being done in music now, like Suno, and a lot of that is just like trying to copy, like pretend to be a human, but that what might be coming next might be really interesting. Like there may be people doing something really imaginative with AI music. Right now, it's just like, oh, we're trying to do like a soul singer, and it's something that's cheaper than having a human, But eventually, people may do something that's truly creative with it. And then one more thing about that I think is kind of a thing to be optimistic for is that people may seek out more unique and human music as well, and you've seen it throughout history. Like the folk music makes a revival, or lo-fi makes a revival, because people are just tired of something that's more formulaic. The same thing with film, like things get formulaic, and then something there's like in the late 60s, early 70s, like film just became really more interesting because it was a reaction to like this formulaic stuff. And like the formulaic AI music is it's not even that much different than what's the formulaic pop music that was already happening. It's just now
Mm,
easier to make that formulaic stuff. And so the kind of like the silver lining or the bright side of it is that maybe people want more like Nirvana now. They'll want something that's just like just thrashing it and cutting
mm.
through. So anyway, I don't, who knows, but I'm curious what
Gonna be
will
interesting to
happen.
see. Yeah, I've had periods of being anxious from it all, and then I was just like, oh, I'm getting tired of being anxious. I can't,
Yeah.
I can't keep this up.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh,
It's not
I'm just gonna do
productive.
everything I can now, and then we'll just see what happens in a while, and I'll react to that when it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not productive. Doesn't make you happy, and there's some kind of balance in there. There's some kind of like something to pay attention to, not just to be so, what's the word? Pollyanna-ish,
Hmm.
that you're just kind of like everything's great, everything's gonna be, we're gonna live in a utopia. There's a lot to pay attention to, and kind of we all need to be in on the discussion. I think it's really important to talk about it. I think
Mm,
that otherwise we're gonna all be blindsided, and we should, like, what do we really want to do? What do we want to do with our time? If we get to that point where we're lucky enough to have total abundance, what will we do with our time?
mm,
And, how will we find meaning in our life? I mean, it could be important. Like so many people now, like work and family. But what if work goes away? Like
mm,
I know myself, I would have to like really adjust to, like, if I didn't have work as identity, it would that would be my new work. Just trying to like
mm. I'm trying to
find
feel
a
that
way.
space. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like at least 25 hours a week. I really want to have like I need a thing. I need something for my brain to latch onto and work on. I don't really want to do 40, 50, 60 hours a week. That's no fun anymore. See it on the other side. But if I had nothing, I'd be like I think my brain would just start to, you know, get a little too much energy, wouldn't know what to do with itself. My hobbies don't fill enough space in my day to do that.
If you didn't need to worry about money, how would your that 25 hours of work be different?
I don't know, man. I feel like I would need to find some project that needed doing, even if it wasn't for money. You know,
Yeah.
what would it be? I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'd have to try and figure that out. Um, it'd probably be then something that, what I used to do before this business is I used to help get people into physical activity. So it's there's a lot of people who run sports clubs who are very dedicated to it. They're helping people to learn karate or salsa dancing or to do yoga, what have you. And they have no idea whatsoever about marketing and how to get more people coming into their groups. And then there's all these people out there who would like to do more activity, but they're nervous about getting started. And so I used to run a service where you would basically connected those people together, and it's like funded by government or health charities. And it was an okay business, wasn't a great business, so I kind of stopped that to run this instead. But that was like my passion project. And so I might start doing that. I might just like build that out. Now, building that out with AI would be, there's a lot you could do, very quickly, because there's the standard in that space is so low. Um, so that would be my first project, I think, if I just didn't need any money, is like start building that out. But I don't know. We'll see. Still need
Yeah.
money.
I still need money too. Yeah.
What's when you're working on your marketing in your business, what's apart from like making sure the course is great, making sure the community is great, and making great YouTube videos, what's the other parts that are taking up your time? Do you do a lot of work on trying to grow your email list? Are you doing a lot of email promotions? Do you work on your sales pages, or is that stuff just like kind of minimized for you so you can focus on the course?
No, I am doing all of that, and I just recently updated our onboarding email sequence, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, I'm always doing some project related to that. A little bit more of that kind of work than I would like. But I'm starting to get better with systems, and I would, yeah, I would like to ideally have more help with that, like an operations person or a part-time operations person but I do all of that. So let's see, I've been spending a lot of time working on actually an AI chatbot to integrate into the site, and it's taken a lot of my time. And what I could talk more about that, or and then but I'm still doing like teacher type stuff a fair amount,
Hmm.
and right now releasing like I redid the entire first module of the course and releasing free videos on YouTube for it, which that was and also an operations thing because it basically leads people to the course because you see the video on YouTube, you get more content if you go to the a, a free page on the Fiddlehead site. And
Hmm.
then even there's even deeper content if you sign up for a free trial or paid membership. So, that's like a combination of like marketing and creating content
Hmm.
together. Like it's actually like now the first module of the course. And it's not just pure content marketing. It's actually learning material for people on the course it's been integrated into it. So I mean, sometimes I'm just creating a YouTube video, and then sometimes I'm creating something totally for the course, and sometimes in between. And so I don't know how to like break it down, like, but I'm doing all of that, and I'm also working on the community. I have a community manager who helps out
Oh
with
yeah.
that and helps organize the students. I have a video editor so I don't edit anymore. Although I really enjoy editing. Will edit once in a while or like some shorts once in a while, and it's really fun. It's like writing, which is so I do a fair amount of writing too, just things like writing practice, but also writing posts and emails, and so that's like a rough sketch of the activity. A lot of learning, a lot of
Oh yeah.
time learning, like just watching videos like your videos and taking notes and trying to integrate all that learning into we're doing a lot of AI learning. So, yeah, no, it's a very fun job. It's a very fun job, but, I would say, like, percentage-wise, 80% of the time, it's something fun, and 20% of the time, it's a struggle, which is, I think,
Okay.
pretty good numbers.
That's not bad. That's not bad
Yeah,
at all. Yeah.
yeah.
One of the things I know you're working on is your analytics. What kind of stuff is it that you would like to know more about through the analytics?
Everything, just more insight into each step of the process of, like, how where do people really come from? What makes people click through to Fiddlehead? Like for those who are watching, you're not familiar with the term. There's a marketing funnel, which is like starts really broad. That's called the top of the funnel, and that's where people are just discover who you are, and then they slowly get warmed up to you, and not everybody. It's a smaller amount of people. That's why they call it a funnel. Like some people will just move on from you, but eventually a smaller amount of people will want to go further with you, subscribe and then to your channel, maybe subscribe to your email list, and then a smaller amount will eventually pay for something you do. So, but there's all these steps along the way, and I only have very limited knowledge of that. And if I could get a little bit more clarity on that, I think it would help me to create stuff that matters more to people. And it's an ongoing process. I know you could also get really overly obsessed with analytics and then kind of lose your way that way too. I mean, there's a degree where I think you need some kind of like gut instinct and intuition, but I know that I err too much on that side and that I could like just have a little bit more. What I'd like to just have it set up and so I can quickly look at each step and then like flip between that and my intuition to make decisions that are good so I can use my time
Mm.
wisely. So that's basically what it comes down to is like I have limited amount of time and limited resources in terms of people that are helping me. And so how could I make the best decisions with my time and having a little bit more clarity with that. And just to tie it back to AI, I think like AI is really good at setting up systems and so I'm really leaning into that, like having like you mentioned this earlier too, but like help me set this up. This is my goal and it's good with that. And so I'm slowly working through different systems in the course and community to set that up. And just to not to reignite that part of the discussion on AI, but what I think it's really positive and that I'm optimistic about is that it could really allow for human flourishing in an ideal setting. but it could allow for, like, I could do more of the human-centered work, and I could do more
Mm,
art. I could do more
yeah.
art and more, and then just to flip to the steel man, the other side, the danger of it is that you spend all your time tinkering with some AI thing, and then you actually do less, which I think is
Mm-hmm.
a danger. Like, you get obsessed with, like, trying to create this perfect system, and then you actually don't get anything done. So it's something to hold all that in mind as you're working through this. But um, yeah, think it's I think that's what I'm. Yeah, it's roughly. I think the question was like, what do I do? How do I spend my time? That's roughly it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm very big into using data where it's helpful. And it's very possible to track so much that you no longer know you're actually distracting yourself with stuff that you really didn't need. But there's certain things that are really, really important, certain KPIs, certain bits of data that really do help to make good decisions. If anyone's listening and is feeling like they're in the same kind of position as Jason, then there's episode 77. I went through the OSIP, how to use KPIs to scale your course. But what I'll do afterwards, I'll connect you with OSIP, and he's really, really good at this. He's staggeringly good, and he'll probably ask you a few questions about your business and then send you through like some resources to kind of point you in the right direction and help you figure out how you can use analytics without spending too much time on it. So you can kind of get that clarity.
Just off the cuff, 3 of the most important analytics or KPIs
Well,
that.
I mean, it depends very much what you're working on. I'm mostly working on sales. So when you're doing that, I want to see like what's the click-through rate at each stage? Like how many people are going through from the email promotion through to the sales page? How many go through from the sales page to the checkout page? And then how many people at that stage buy? And almost nobody tracks those 3 numbers. The
So
data
let
is
me say it
available.
back. How many people
Yeah.
click to this sales page?
Yeah.
How many people click from the sales page to a a buy page? And then how many people buy? Those
Yeah.
are the 3.
Yeah. And what we're looking for is somewhere in the region of about 3 to 5% of people clicking through to the sales page from the email list. Then from the email list, if it's during an email promotion, we're looking for about 25% of people to click through from the sales page to the checkout page, and then about 50% of those people to buy. Now, if it's those numbers are specific to during an email promotion. If you have a sales page that people go to cold just on your website, then the numbers are different. So the way that all of these kind of things can be useful, the basic concept is you track what these different numbers are. Let's say it's sales, like I'm talking about. You look at those different numbers, and then you compare them to benchmark numbers, and you go, well, how am I doing against that? If you're kind of close to benchmarks, then it's probably fine. There's probably not tons you can do to easily improve that. But let's say, as I've seen quite often, your checkout page conversion rate is 5% instead of 50%. It's like, okay, we need to have a look at why this is happening, because we can almost definitely make a massive jump in conversion rate here, which is going to lead to a massive jump in sales. And so we've got like a small set of numbers that we'll look at for whatever part of the funnel it is, whatever part of the process it is, and use those to figure out exactly what is it that needs actually working on.
That's
I'll get
great.
Yosef
Thanks
to
for
send you through
sharing
some
that.
stuff about it. Yeah, no worries, man.
I appreciate that. That's really cool. I'm gonna definitely think about that and work that into a next project to
Nice.
understand that. Yeah.
Well, man, thanks so much for coming on today. I really, really appreciate it. If someone wants to go check you out, where do they go to? What's the Fiddlehead website, Fiddlehead YouTube channel?
So it's Fiddlehead. Fiddlehead is misspelled HED, Fiddlehead. And so just search for that on YouTube, fiddlehead.com. And that's pretty much it.
Straightforward.
The community is called Play Every Day because
Okay.
that's the most important thing to remember. And so some people are just members of the community. But yeah, those would be the places.
Man, that was awesome. I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience and your journey.
Yeah, it's
As
great to
always,
talk, John. Yeah.
sweet. As always, thanks so much for listening. And Jason, thanks again for coming on, man.
Cheers.